Hi everyone and welcome to a brand new studio vlog where this week I'll be taking you behind the scenes of attending my 6th trade show, which is Progressive Greetings Live. It's a show that I've not done before. It's one that's aimed at the greeting card industry, and as you might know, I launched greeting cards in my shop in January this year alongside my stationery and gifts, and so I wanted to bring you along and show you how the event went. So this is me setting up my trade show booth. I went for a 4x1 stand this time, and with the addition of my new product stands, which you can see me building some of here, I actually managed to fit all my card stationery and gifts except my tote bags in this 4x1 space, which is really great. It's just made things a little bit more compact and meant that I can display my gifts also in a more coordinated way with everything matching. You might have seen a couple of vlogs ago me up late at night trying to perfect these stands before the show so that I could firstly display my products on them, but also offer them to retailers as a solution for them to be able to display my products in store. And so I developed ones for my pins and pocket hearts, for my greetings cards, and for key rings and for coasters. Now these boards are what I got made for this show to put my greeting cards on the wall, and they are 3mm foam board, and I wanted them to look like little houses. Originally I was going to put some more scenes in the background and stairs between the levels and things, but you couldn't really see it, so I just kept it simple. And then what I'm doing here is pushing split pins through holes that I've made in the foam board and just opening them at the back so that I can hook some clips over to hang my cards on. And this show was a little bit different than the other ones I've done in that we couldn't paint the walls or put anything on the walls that might damage them, and it was also shorter than the stands that I've done at the last few shows. So that meant that my lovely vinyls that I had printed, I couldn't stick to these panels. So I got these foam boards printed because they're super lightweight, and I could just stick them up with double-sided tape, which would easily pull off the panels again afterwards. As you can see me putting them up here, what we quickly realised is this isn't a wall, it's a very thin, flimsy panel. So my mum figured out she could actually climb in between the panels, and we tried to push in the same place from one side and the other to make sure that they were stuck securely, but as you can see here, we didn't time it very well and this panel actually popped out. That's how flimsy they were, like I barely touched it, but we managed to get it back in place without too much trouble, because if you caused any marks or damage to the stands, it was £125 per panel that you would be charged after the show. So obviously I was very keen not to do that. So I had 3 of these printed for my greeting cards, 1 for coasters and 1 for hanging ornaments. And by that point we were about an hour and a half in, and my lovely mom had brought us a packed lunch, so we sat and had a little bit of refreshments before another big push to get the stand all set up. Because I've not been able to fix things to the walls, I really had to rethink what my display was going to look like. And at my first couple of shows, I had my logo printed in this vinyl that sticks to the walls, and it's really easy to reposition or to pull off afterwards, and it doesn't leave any marks. And so I had this idea, what if I transformed the stand into a bit of a doodle paradise with lots of positive happy doodles in my 2 main colours that I'm using now, the pink and orange. And so I got these printed on 1 massive sheet of vinyl, and then I just roughly cut around each one. They're not completely cut to the shape of each individual illustration, but just a kind of somewhat smooth shape around the outside. And although you can see it a little bit, I don't think you could see it to the extent that it really mattered. I was actually really happy with how it turned out in the end. It was something different to how I'd done it before, but something really fun. So this is where I started hanging up all the cards. I had hooked a bulldog clip over the split pins. If I was smart about it, I would have just put the split pins and bulldog clips on at the same time instead of doubling up the job. But there we go. You live and you learn. But I went through one by one and put each collection of cards up on the board with their coordinating envelopes. And I felt like then you could really see it starting to come together. And while I was doing that, my mum was working on getting the other products unpacked and on their relevant displays. And then this is how it all came together. So you can see here that I also had what I was calling the bungalow, a little house for my hanging ornaments, and then one for all my new coaster designs. I love how fun and bright it is, and I felt like it was a good compromise with not marking the walls. I'd had a big postbox doodle printed, and then I'd scattered some other ones around the collapsible tables with my products on. These fold-up tables are so great to take to events because they just concertina in the middle and you can put them straight in the back of the car. These are my new pin and pocket heart display stands, and I think they make the displays look really neat and tidy. And I've also changed some of my pin backing cards, so some were on slightly shorter cards, but I've made them all the same height just so it looks all uniform in the stand. I was really happy with how all my new coasters turned out, just so bright and vibrant, and I had a display for those as well. I took some of my mug designs, my 6 key rings on display. This is the greeting card stand that I'd produced, and then all my bright fun card designs up on the wall. So whether it's the heartfelt quotes, the punny cards, the wildflower, there's such a mix. I took all of my notepads and journals with me as well. And then my brand new Lottie and Bluebell range of cards. I love how these turned out. I just thought they looked so beautiful. And someone said to me that they looked like a page out of a storybook, which I took as a big compliment. And then our anxiety toolkits arrived just in time to bring with us, which I was really happy about. And here it is all together. We've done it! Yay. We've finished! And all ready on stand 606 for the next morning. So the stand is set up, it's looking amazing, and we're ready to start meeting people. But before we dive into how that went, I wanted to share something crucial that I did before I even got to the Business Design Centre, which was incredibly helpful in preparing for the show and for my business in general. And that is, I used OmniSend to email my stockists. I wanted to make sure all my amazing stockists and potential future stockists that I'm in touch with knew that I was going to be at the show and knew about all the lovely new things I was going to be bringing with me. And you might be thinking, big whoop, you sent an email. This is not a groundbreaking tip. But I was able to do this using OmniSend's segmentation feature, which is a feature that I really love and rely on. It's so helpful if you have different groups of customers to communicate with, like I do. For example, I have my lovely individual customers that I might have met at events. They find me online and they shop directly through my website. And then I have my stockists, who are businesses themselves carrying my products in their shops. They have completely different needs and they are in need of me sending completely different information. With OmniSend, I can separate these out into distinct lists. So when I wanted to tell my stockists all about attending the trade show and my new products, I could send a targeted email just to them without cluttering up my individual customers' inbox with things like wholesale terms and booth numbers at a trade show, which is completely irrelevant to them. And on the flip side, when I'm running a promotion or I have new products that are available on my website, I can send a specific email just to my individual customers. And it means that every email I send is relevant, it's engaging, and more likely to have a positive response. And you can break your customers down into all kinds of different lists. And it's really powerful for building stronger relationships with your customers and ultimately driving more sales. which is what we want. I can create professional looking emails really easily for all my different types of customers all in one place without having to have different platforms for different things. If you're looking for an email marketing platform that allows you to connect with your customers on a deeper level, to send the right message to the right people at the right time, then I highly recommend OmniSend. It's really easy to use, and the segmentation feature has made my email marketing so much more effective. So if you really want to elevate your email marketing and send emails that will resonate with different types of audiences, then give OmniSend a try. They have a completely free plan for people with under 250 contacts on their email list. Use the link in my description below to sign up. And if you do already happen to have over 250 contacts on your email list, you can get 30% off any of the paid plans using my code SunshineYT. You won't regret giving it a try, and they have some amazing resources as well as 24/7 chat support to help you get started. Now back to the first day of the show. So we stayed in an Airbnb that was a short walk to the Business Design Centre in Islington where the show was taking place. The show was on 2 levels and we were in the upstairs level. And so from our level, you can see here all the stands below on kind of the very ground level and then a mezzanine level. And then we walked to our stand, holding our breath, wondering whether everything had stayed on the walls overnight. But we were very happy to see that everything had stayed, which was, oh, thank goodness for that. And we were all ready to welcome visitors and start the day. So it was a lovely day. We met some lovely retailers. This was a 2-day show, and this first day was really busy. It was a little quieter with us being upstairs, but we still had a good steady flow of people and people interested in learning what Sunshine Lane was all about. And so we had some great conversations with people. Something that I did was I actually swapped around what was on the tabletops, and I put my pins and pocket hearts closest to the aisle because the pins and pocket hearts usually draw people in. And we did see a difference in people slowing down a bit more, and it just gave them time to then take in the rest of the stand, and they were more likely to come in and look at things in more detail. And I also quickly put together this sign for the anxiety toolkit, and the staff in the office were kind enough to print it off for me. Like I said, these arrived just in time, and I'm so happy with how these have turned out. These are going to be released on the shop this Friday, so set your reminders. It's a gorgeous pocket-sized toolkit with different strategies to help you with anxiety. I love how all the different sides of the box turned out, and then these are the cards that are inside. We put them out so people could have a flick through, and there's all sorts of things in there, from things that are educational, breathing exercises, reflective questions, distraction exercises, affirmations. There's all sorts in there. As you'll see, my lovely mum Alison was with me. She comes to all my trade shows, and she works for Sunshine Lane now 2 days a week since last July. So her 1-year anniversary is coming up. I can't believe it. And she made sure that we were well looked after. She is absolutely awesome in what she does for Sunshine Lane, but also an awesome mum. So she made sure that we had all the snacks, coffees and cakes we needed, as well as all the other things she does to make sure that we keep going and keep the motivation. And I was also kept going by our lovely neighbours, Pickled Prince. They were opposite, James and Mark. Their cards were really funny and their display was amazing. They picked out one of their quotes from their cards about seagulls hunting chips, and then they had these little flying seagulls on the chips, and it was just like such a creative display. And it makes a difference to have friendly neighbours that you can chat to and just spend the show with a little bit. And I was lucky enough to get a Sunshine ticket, which I'll tell you a little bit about in a moment. But as you can see, very happy about this. I'm filming for the vlog. Would you like to say hello? Do you want to say hello? It's on.
Sorry, it's on. Hi fans, hi folks.
So it's the end of the day, and we've lost our brains. Yeah. We've lost our brain powers. So hello, welcome to a new vlog. I haven't spoken to you and shown my face. It is the end of day 1 of PG Live, and I thought we would check in with you and say hi. You don't have to stay if you don't want to. Do you want to? Yeah. I thought we would check in and say hi because the day has flown by and it's been Yeah, it's gone quick. Well, till about 4 o'clock.
Yeah, then it went quiet.
Yeah, it's about 20 to 6. Closes at 6 today. And so I thought we would just check in live from the trade show and tell you how it's been today. As you can see, my lovely stand behind me. It's been really good today, hasn't it?
It has. The highlight has been Emma had a photo taken with not Peppa Pig,
Yeah.
Peppa Pig and
See if you can get it.
Mummy Pig
Yeah.
and Baby Pig.
What's the
Evie.
baby?
Evie.
Hey, yeah. I met Evie Pig. I congratulated Mummy Pig on her new baby, and the man that was escorting the people in the costumes looked at me like I was a lunatic. But I'll insert picture here of me meeting Mummy Pig, Baby Pig, Peppa Pig. I really hate people in costumes with a passion, but my little girl really likes Peppa Pig, so I'm just going for Mum of the Year award because I braced it and stood there and smiled. But other than meeting Peppa Pig, it's been a very good day. We're upstairs, so the show is on 2 levels, and you've got your main bit downstairs and then the upper village, which we are in, which is for newer people to the show. And then there's a springboard section up here as well, which is tabletop stands that are a bit smaller, obviously, because you just got your tabletop. And that's like an easier entry to people for the show. So we've got a 4x1 stand this time, and it's worked out really well. Something that I've liked is they've kept putting announcements over the tannoy saying, just a reminder that there are 60 more exhibitors on the upper level, because sometimes if you're not in the main bit of an event, it can get forgotten about or people don't realise. But we are also on the way to lunch, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
thought you meant on the way to lunch.
no. So around lunchtime when people were hovering, because there's free lunch and free tea and coffee at this one, although there was nothing for people who can't eat dairy, so I was a bit sad about that. No vegan option. So I had an emergency sandwich that you put in my bag. Yeah. This is why you should bring your mum to trade shows. So I ate the sandwich. But when it was around lunchtime in particular, people were hovering, and then we got a lot of people.
After lunch, weren't
Yeah.
feeling content, and then meandered past and stopped and had a look. Yeah.
But it prompted people to come up here as well, which was really good, because who doesn't want a free lunch? And the other thing I like about being up here is you've got a lot more space. I'll do a little pan so you can see. Downstairs is very much traditional, like you've just got your narrow aisle between the stands, whereas here I've just got one neighbour, and then we've got like a big open area. So yeah, it's been good. In terms of people stopping and saying hi, we've had a good sort of steady flow of people, haven't we? And a lot of people who are like very, very interested, and they get what we do, and it seems like a good fit, and they're asking loads and loads of questions. It's not just a quick, oh, that's nice, and disappear. And then we've had a couple of orders, which is really lovely to be able to take orders on the day, because normally we get more in the follow-ups. It's nice to have orders on the day and just feel like you've got over that hurdle of like the first orders. There's been a couple of awards recently for retailers, so the Greats and the Ritas, and the winners get given vouchers that they can spend on orders from stands at this show. And 2 people spent their voucher with me and then obviously like paid the rest of their order. So one was a sunshine ticket, which was super exciting. Get them down. One was a sunshine ticket and one was a golden ticket or something. Sunshine ticket. And then one that's called the Greats voucher. So essentially the winners get that off their order with me, and then I claim it back from the organisers, which is really fun. And then each time someone had a voucher and they chose me to spend it with, I felt like I'd won the lottery, and I was like giddy. I don't know quite why.
Well, I think it's nice because they could have spent it with anybody. I don't know how many exhibitors there are, but there's a couple of hundred or
maybe more.
Yeah, and it's nice to know they chose to spend it at Sunshine Lane. So I think that's why you feel like you've won the lottery, because it's like, me, you chose me, you know.
And then the organiser said if anyone wants to spend one with you, run to the office and they'll get the photographer to come and take a picture.
So I was the runner.
Yeah, so I was like, go to the office, go, go, go. And then what happened when you got there?
Oh, the first time they said, sorry, photographer's on lunch. And I said, well, can you ring him? And they said, no, he's on lunch. So we had to get one of the other staff to come up and take a photo on her phone. But then the second time, you went, go, go, go. And off I ran. And I came back with him.
Yeah, we got the full experience that time because I felt robbed. I was like, but I want my official picture.
Yeah.
I want my moment to shine. So we got it. We got it. So yeah, that I will insert some pictures here if I have them. And I just felt like those people that get photographed with a big check. But it's gone really well. Something that's gone really well is the displays. So if you saw my vlog 2 weeks ago, I was up till silly o'clock at night. I did some late nights trying to crack some wooden display stands for here to stock particular types of products, to be able to say to retailers, how are you going to display them if you haven't got a solution? Here you can buy the fully loaded stand, whether it's pins, pocket hearts, greetings cards, coasters. And so I perfected those, and big thank you goes to the skimp Brit who watches my videos, because they commented and said, what if you tried on the greeting card stand doing a scalloped edge, because I was saying about perhaps putting a few semicircles to stop the cards tipping forward. And I'll insert some footage here of what it looks like. It looks so pretty. I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. It gives it just a really cute little finish, as well as being practical.
Yeah, and I think the stands have worked really well as a selling point, haven't they? Because there's encouraged people to buy, or maybe buy a few more of an item, so that they can fully load the stand.
That's what I was going to say. Like, people might have picked 5 coaster designs, and then they take the display which displays 8 coaster designs, and they say, okay, I'll pick another 3. So that's been really good. I wish that my greetings cards one did more than 9, but I don't think I can do it on the cutter I've got. But then I think if you had loads of cards, you'd probably get a spinner or something, wouldn't you? It's more like a little tabletop one. But yes, so it's a bit of a weird one, because this one's only a 2-day show, and so it's the end of the day now, and now I'm thinking, oh, we're packing up tomorrow. It's our last night, whereas the last show we did was 5 days including setup, and this has been 3 including setup. So that's a bit of a funny thought. It's till 4:30 tomorrow, so our plan tonight is we're not doing the drinks. There's always free drinks, and by this time of day I'm always beside myself with tiredness, and talking to people is the last thing I want to do, and being in a noisy room is the last thing I want to do. So we're going to go back to the Airbnb. What have we got for dinner?
Oh, we've got pesto pasta for dinner.
Very nice. This is why everyone should hire their mum, because they make sure you're taken care of. So we're going to go to the Airbnb, we're going to cook some pasta, we're going to put a foot mask on, face mask on, do a little bit of admin. So I thought I'd film now before that, and then we'll be back here tomorrow. We've got to check out the Airbnb, put the bags in the car, and then come here for 9:30. So it's not a super, start at the crack of dawn, which is quite nice.
It was nice this morning to not be having to get up really early and out by 8 o'clock, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So you could have a bit of a lie-in.
Yeah. But we will see how tomorrow goes. Wish us luck, and I'll keep you updated. See you in the morning. So on the morning of day 2, we packed up our things, checked out of the Airbnb, and dropped our bags off at the car. And then, coffee secured, we walked ourselves back to the Business Design Centre, ready for another day. The second day was a lot quieter. The last day of a show is always quieter, and I had thought that would be a bit different with it only being a 2-day show. But it was still good. We still had some great conversations with people, got some great leads. And there were elements of this show that just made it a really fun celebration of the greetings cards industry. Like, they had these 4 people in these gorgeous dresses that had been made out of greetings cards that exhibitors had sent in ahead of time. They were moving a bit quick for me to see if any of my cards were on there, but here's 2 of them here with my mum. I didn't manage to get my picture taken with them, but they were so friendly. We had a bit more of an explore on the second day. I didn't get much footage of the other exhibitors because they were very conscious of who was taking pictures and videos of the stand, and I'll talk a bit more about this later in the vlog. And then before we knew it, it was time to pack up. Everybody was scrambling to get their stands packed away before we knew what was happening. And then we were left back with our empty stand as if nothing had ever happened. We did the drive home and I quickly got myself straight in bed, popped the telly on and had some well-deserved rest. I am back home, a little bit rested, and I wanted to just pop on and have a little chat with you about some things that I didn't cover already in the video, my thoughts about the show. I'm really happy with how it went. When it's your first time at something, it's really hard to know what to expect. And with this being a 2-day show and the other ones I've done are 3 or 4 days, it was just quite different in that respect. We were all set up and we did the first day, and then it was like, oh, we need to think about packing away tomorrow. And that was a bit unusual to me, but I did actually quite like that it wasn't a weekend setup. It was set up on a Monday, show Tuesday, Wednesday. We drove home Wednesday night, so I was only away from home 2 nights, which was much better in terms of juggling childcare responsibilities and things like that. It wasn't as much to cover now that my husband's back at work. The journey was a bit of a nightmare on the way there. We ended up, there was an accident on the motorway and it closed, and so it took us over 5 hours to get there, and so we did feel a little bit rushed setting up the stand because we didn't know how long it was going to take and the day was ticking away, but we got it done with an hour to spare before they would have kicked us out the venue, so we were fine. And then the drive home took about 3-ish hours, maybe a little bit more with a stop. So by the time I got home, it had been such a long day, I was fully ready for sleep. And although I did do some jobs on Thursday, Friday, when I got back, I did take it a lot easier. Although saying that, I had my little girl's birthday party to prepare for on the Saturday, so I ended up swapping one thing for another. But you're not here to talk about that. I did really like the vibe of this show. It felt like a celebration of the greetings cards industry in a way. I loved that as you were coming in, there was people playing live music and there was the ladies in the card dresses, and it made it feel like a bit more of an occasion. And also the thing with the tickets was really fun, felt really special if someone chose to spend theirs with you. And I was really able to have conversations with people who it felt like they did get Sunshine Lane and what we're all about. Not everyone is going to. Some people are going to stop and talk and you can tell it's not really their thing, whatever they stock and the vibe of their shop. And that's fine, but the good thing is I felt like we did speak to people who really got it, and I feel like we got some really positive leads, as well as getting 3 orders at the show, which for a 2-day show I'm quite pleased with. I know for some people that's probably nothing and sounds really small, but we do tend to get more orders in the follow-up period, and so just having those orders already in, and they were a higher order value than we would normally get, which was good. When I did my first top draw, I think I left with 8 to 10 orders, but the order value wasn't as much as these 3 orders. And so I am trying to think about it more in terms of money in rather than number of orders, because 10 orders sounds way more impressive than 3, but if I can buy more stock with those 3 orders than I could have done with the 10, then I'm just trying to shift my mindset a bit on that and look at success in a different way, if that makes sense. So I said earlier that I would come back and talk to you about why I didn't take footage of individual stands at this show, and it's actually something that I think for the industry is a real positive. If you watched my Spring Fair vlog, I will link it, I talked a lot about how someone from Temu came to speak at the event, and there was a lot of controversy around it because a lot of the exhibitors that had paid to be at the show have had their designs stolen and put onto sites like Shein, Temu, the kind of discount retail sites. There's been a lot of copyright infringement, a lot of designs stolen, and really just ripping off small businesses for their own gain. And you do get a lot of people visiting the shows that aren't retailers, and you don't know who they are or why they're taking pictures or videos of your stand. And I did notice at the beginning of this year that I was getting more questions about that if I was filming. I personally, if I am going to be filming anything up close, I do try and ask people, do you mind if I take a picture? And people were doing that with me, but sometimes you just get a vibe something's a little bit off. And my mum did actually see one group of people getting removed from the event because they had been coming in and taking pictures and videos, but couldn't really explain like who they were and what they were taking them for. And the organisers had said they try and be a bit more specific about who they will allow to register for tickets, and it is meant to be a business to business event. You do get some people coming to trade shows because they might want to do one in the future and they're looking round. I did that, or for inspiration, but there's a big difference between inspiration and kind of ripping off designs. So the organisers of this show had said that they tried to scrutinise the guest list a little bit more and make sure that the people that were given tickets, even though it's free to attend, were actually there for the right reasons. And they did end up putting an announcement out to people saying that they discourage photographing and videoing people's stands up close unless you have kind of asked for permission. If you're a retailer and you want to remember the stand, for example. I had a couple of people say that to me, but they were people that I'd had a conversation with. They weren't just random people that were coming in, taking a picture and then running away. And although from a perspective of trying to see what a show's like from home, that is not as helpful, at the end of the day, it is a business to business event, and it's important that small businesses are protected as much as possible and they get a chance to sell their designs themselves that they have poured all this love into. And so I completely understood and respected it, and I just didn't push that boundary. But I hope you still got a good sense of what the show was like and what it was like to exhibit there. I always love being at the shows and surrounded by all the creativity, and it was good on the second day when it was a bit quieter to get a chance to wander around, introduce myself to a few new people, even though that is really nerve-wracking for me, but just appreciate their art and their designs and have a bit of a conversation about it. And it's just quite incredible how from one stand to the next, just how different something like a greetings card can be, and people's different approaches, their artistic styles. Yeah, it's really inspiring to see people's different creativity coming out onto the products. I would definitely like to do the show again. I thought it was really great. I think I would prefer to be downstairs because it was a lot busier downstairs. And I think there are pros and cons to all stand placements at shows. There aren't many sort of terrible positions to be. However, even though they were putting the announcements out saying there are 60 more exhibitors upstairs, I think having that mindset of, oh, the people upstairs are newer. In some ways, people want that because they want to find something that's not stocked everywhere. But in other ways, some people think, oh, well, if they're newer, we don't know about the reliability yet. Let's maybe wait till they get a bit more established. And so even though I loved being upstairs because we had all the extra space and we didn't feel penned in and people could come in and have a browse without feeling like we were on top of them, I would quite like to be downstairs with some of the more established brands and see if that makes a difference in people's perception. So I'm going to ask about that when I ask about rebooking. I need to drop them an email, but I know it's the case at lots of shows where when people do it year on year, they find a stand that they like and they don't want to give it up, and therefore it can be quite difficult to get a different stand placement unless someone says they're not doing the show again the following year. Like the rebooking rates at these shows are really high. I know for Spring Fair I asked to rebook straight away at the show, and I gave them like 4 or 5 alternative stands that I'd prefer and they couldn't give me any of them. So it's worth an ask, and I'm going to see. But if we were upstairs again, it would not be the end of the world to me. I think we still had a really good show. I did really love that they had the springboard section with the tabletop stands, because especially if you just did greetings cards and you had a few smaller collections and you were just starting out, you can display a lot on a tabletop, and that's a much more cost-effective way of trying out a trade show and seeing if it's for you. And I saw lots of people in there were getting tickets off people, they were getting orders, they were getting seen. So it's definitely something to consider. If I'd done trade shows earlier, and if I had just started with greetings cards, for example, and didn't have all my gifts, then I think that would have been something that I really would have considered. Just like my first trade show at Top Drawer, I was in the launchpad area, which was a more introductory, cost-effective way to dip your toe in the trade show world, and it was smaller stands at the front. So I like it when shows have that and they try and support new businesses coming in, because trade shows are so expensive and it's such a gamble. This show was cheaper than the others, but it was only a 2-day show, so I guess that reflects in that. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm back in the studio this week. I'm going to be following up with people. I'm going to be looking if we need to buy anything to fulfill the orders, if we've got enough stock of everything, starting to get those orders out the door. And I'm also going to be getting our anxiety toolkit ready to launch this Friday, so make sure you set your reminders if you haven't already. And also check out our new apparel. We've got 2 t-shirt designs and a sweatshirt design on the website now, as well as new mugs and prints. Go and check the new section on my website. I'm going to leave a link below, and yeah, have a look at the anxiety toolkit and see what you think. It's a product that I'm really proud of creating, and if you want to know more about it, I'll also leave a link to the video about it below. But I'm gonna leave you here for now. Go and do my follow-up jobs. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. It really helps push my channel out to more people who might like to see it too. And if you reach this point in the video, can you leave the emoji that's like a little envelope with a heart on to represent greetings cards? And also, if there's anything else you want to know about trade shows or wholesale in general, leave those in the comments below as well, because I can look at doing more videos on that in the future. And until next week's video, take care everyone. I'll see you then. Bye.